Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Saturday Morning Fragcast. I am your co-host, Victor von Fragenstein.
And I'm Gapper.
And we are continuing with our roundup of 2016's E3 showcases. Now we are moving on to Microsoft, which was actually billed as the Xbox showcase, even though it seemed to be focused on Windows 10 as much as Xbox.
Yep, a lot of Windows 10, Xbox One crossplay. Looks pretty promising.
Looks very promising. We'll get into that shortly. They opened up with a note on the Xbox One S. Looks like a stripped-down version of the current model Xbox. $299 US is a great price. However, due to a following announcement, that will probably be $299 you want to save for later.
Yeah, well, they did say it could do 4K video, but it can't do 4K games. The hard drive size was decent, but I have an external anyways. And it just seems like something I don't want to buy because holiday 2017, I'll probably be picking up Scorpio.
Yeah, they've announced Project Scorpio, which we'll get into a little more later. But basically, if you pick this up later this year, you're literally going to have, if you're the kind of person who stays on the cutting edge anyway, you're going to have about a year use out of it at most. Might be a good idea for people looking to jump in who haven't had a chance yet. But for those who are really hardcore, I certainly wouldn't go picking this up. I'd save your $300.
If you're just looking for entry level, just to play maybe a few games you've missed so far this console generation, I would say get older edition and just use it, and then save your money up until I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I'd wait till Scorpio. I wouldn't spend all my money on.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I would not. I was really excited about the price, honestly, until I got to the section where they announced Scorpio, and then I'm just like, well, we're going to pay $300 for a piece of outdated hardware. But anyway, moving on, they seem to emphasize, before they got into the games, the more choice of how to play your games. And to me, this is a total 180 from about 2 years ago. I remember when they were announcing some of the features of the Xbox One, things like, if you remember, the always on Connect, on. You can't play LAN games.
So
so that really seems they've listened to the fans there and done a 180 in that respect, because I remember, they not only gave up, they basically just ceded the console wars to Sony for this generation with that nonsense about having to pay a $10 fee to borrow your friend's game, and the Kinect, which, again, it's a fine tool for those who want to use it, but I'd say probably
they've lost almost all. I like using my Kinect for just saying to record stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, they've lost all support for it. No one uses it. No developers developing for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like having it, but with Cortana coming out, I've signed up on the preview program for it. You don't need a Kinect for it. All you need is a the microphone that comes with the Xbox, and you can access Cortana.
Yeah, so it seems to me like, hopefully that this new direction they're going in is more towards what the fans are looking for. So they opened up, first game out of the gate was Gears of War 4. Most interesting thing about this to me was that it is going to be on the Xbox Play cross compatibility system. So basically what they've announced is that the games that are part of this program, if you own the Xbox One version, you are going to get the Windows 10 version free, or vice versa. Progress, assumingly, will be saved to the cloud because it'll be shared between the two. And so that, to me, is great. The idea is great because I've been a PC gamer for a long time, and I don't have the current generation Xbox. I'm certainly not going to be buying one now with the announcement of Scorpio. So that'll be a great way to keep players connected across platform, because there's really no reason why the MSN network and whatnot can't, or Xbox Live Network now, I guess it's called, can't connect across platforms.
Yeah, no, for sure. I haven't really been a big Gears fan in a long time though, but
yeah,
it looked like Gears.
It looked like Gears, yeah.
I was just saying to my friend, he was totally against me. I didn't think it looked that much better than previous Gears. Like,
no,
it looked okay, but it wasn't as graphically stunning as the first Gears was.
No, the first Gears
during
was
its time.
When the first Gears came out. First of all, it kicked off the chest high wall third-person shooter craze. So it had that going for it, that it was kind of the first AAA big title in that. But it looked stunning. At the time, it was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember it was one of the first games I'd ever seen where it was like a first-person war game. And they had that had that music to it. I forget what it was called. It's an old Tears for Fears song cover. I can't even remember the name of it now. Mad World.
Yes.
And that was just such a brilliant trailer to show off this world that they'd created. By comparison, this seemed very tepid, very lukewarm by comparison. It looked cool, and it looked like the trailer for this year actually continued from where the trailer last year left off.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. It isn't getting me super excited. I'm happy they showed gameplay. Last year they didn't have a lot of gameplay.
Well, they already had a beta for it.
Yeah.
I played in the beta.
There you go. I missed that entirely.
I forget when it even was now. But no, I played a few games in the beta, but I'm personally just not a big fan of Gears, but my friends that were playing it, they had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And if you like Gears, it looks like a great game. It's more of Gears, and it should be good. The only thing that would tempt me to get it is I remember having a lot of fun back in the day with Horde mode.
Yeah.
Some of my best gaming moments were in Horde mode. They got Horde 3.0.
Yep.
But yeah, just it's not my cup of tea.
enough.
But if you like it, then it's gonna be great.
I will say they definitely turned up some of the cool factor in this trailer. That buzzsaw gun that was flying off was pretty cool. The catapulting explosives and then shooting them out of midair, and then the wind blowing, flaming death onto guys. It was cool. Giant skinless gorilla, and then old Marcus appearing out of nowhere at the end of the trailer. Cool, but again, it's really a more of the same at this point. I'll have to see. Really, I'll have to see. Again, I'm not anti-Gears per se, but I'm kind of along the same lines as Gapper here, where it's just like, game's okay, I'll play it if I'm not into doing anything else. But if someone else suggests a different game, I'm probably going to go for that instead.
Yeah, no, I'm just not a big third-person shooter fan. I like my FPS.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where I am. I did have a lot of fun in Gears 1. Gears 2 after it kind of lost me, and just
it really fell flat.
Unless they do something really drastic, I'm just not into it.
Yep. And that brings us directly into Killer Instinct, a game which neither Gapper or myself honestly care too much about. I'm much more into the competitive 1v1 fighter than he is, but it's still kind of lukewarm for me.
I've never. I played the classic. I bought the season 1 for Xbox One when it first came out.
Yep.
Just so I could get the classic game.
Yeah.
Played it a bit, but I'm just not a big fighter fan.
Well, and to be honest, they took a lot of the gimmicky... I mean, it is gimmicky violence, but they took away some of the ridiculously over-the-top finishers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what made Killer Instinct fun, was like, okay, I can take my robot fighter and turn him into a laser cannon and melt your guy's face.
Yeah. They've been doing it, like, if that's your... Like I said, again with this game, if that's your thing, they've been making a lot of big progress with Killer Instinct, because it came out for a while, it was free, a little bit stagnant, new character here and there with the seasons past. But they've really been stepping up support and development for that game lately. They're on season 3 now. Yep. They just had the Arbiter as a character now.
Yeah, and they announced this new character from Gears, General Ram.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you wouldn't expect a third-person shooter character to be a choice for this. You see some games, like there was a big deal. They've had, Darth Vader and Kratos from God of War have shown up in various fighting games, which almost makes sense because they're like brawlers and fighters. This was an interesting choice, but still not really enough to get me excited about the game. No. But for those who are into it, it looks like it'll be a fun addition.
Yeah, if you like, if it's one of your fighting games and they keep adding support like they are, I think that's great for the fighting game community. I'm actually not even sure how big of community Killer Instinct has.
It's pretty small compared to some other fighters from what I've seen, but the people that are there really are dedicated. So,
like, really the only fighter I play is Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I love to watch Melee on Twitch.
There you go. That game's a lot of fun. Which, interestingly enough, for those who are interested, we will not be doing a Nintendo feature this year. Nintendo elected to, for whatever reason, remove their regular press release and opt for 2 days of live Treehouse. And A, I'm not interested in just watching random people play the games. And B, I love you guys, all 7 of you who are probably listening to this, but I'm not going to wade through 2 days worth of content to find enough to make a video about. So there will be no Nintendo coverage this year, also until they drop their insane copyright strike policy. So, that being said, moving on, we have Forza Horizon 3. Now, I am not a big racing game person when the races do not involve explosions, missiles, and other interesting things.
I'm a burnout person.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite racing games. I like the arcadey racing games.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've even ever bought a Forza.
I have never owned a Forza myself. However, I will say if I was going to start, I would start here. I like the sync up. Did you get a chance to take a look at that? They've basically got this seamless thing where if you've got someone else and you make an Xbox Live party, you instantly kind of teleport into their game in progress because it's an open world. And so if you all want to, you could be racing in your own individual races, boom. And it was, from what I saw, again, of course, it's a tech demo, so who knows if it'll work this seamlessly in real time. But it jumped right in and boom, we're in the action. You're racing with your buddies within, 10 seconds.
Did they drop any cars from the ceiling this year?
I did not see any cars coming down.
I know I have a bunch of friends on Xbox they were into Horizon 2 and they had a lot of fun with it.
Yep.
So if there's a new party system, should be good for just getting together with your friends and just
And I might add
having fun roaming around.
I might add a big what the fuck moment for me. We'll have to see how it turns out. They announced 4-player campaign co-op in a racing game. I'm not entirely sure how that's supposed to work, but hey, if you can pull it off, I'm down.
Most Wanted had a fun campaign.
That's true. I don't know how you're going to get the campaign co-op out of a racing game, though.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's not a destruction racing game where your partners can take out the opposition. It's like, we're racing. Someone has to win. The other 3 guys are going to have to lose. So we got that going. But anyway, so for those who are interested in it, it looks like continuing on with the series looking well, just not a big topic of interest for us. And that brings us to Recore. So, Recore, we kind of got our first glimpse at that last year at E3.
Yep. First showed last year.
Yeah.
Kind of cool-looking robot dog things.
Yeah. And they showed off a bunch more of the different robots this year. Very stylized, though, and very scripted. It didn't really give a feel for the game at all.
No.
It was more like a character introduction video. Looks kind of interesting. I like the idea of, okay, we're going to pop the core out of the dog and put it in the big gorilla robot to fight with. But they really didn't, again, a few snippets of gameplay here and there, but very little, so very hard to tell.
From what I did see, at first I was like, okay, because I wasn't too interested in the first couple things that they showed up. I'm like, all right, I could be interested in this. This is kind of cool. But then as I saw more, it really didn't impress me much. It doesn't really do anything that really made me say, oh man, I really got to play this game.
Exactly. I think what we need is a good gameplay trailer that's going to show us some of the interesting set pieces and some of the action, because all we've seen are teasers, and again, this was
just like a little bit of platforming with your Recore robot thing.
Yeah, there was very, very little shown. So, interesting. I like the concept, but we'll have to see some gameplay to judge. So, moving on, we had Final Fantasy 15. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that I've been a very hardcore Final Fantasy fan. I have owned, at some point, every single Final Fantasy game, including the crappy multiplayer ones, although 11 isn't that bad.
I played the 11 demo.
Yeah. I've owned every single one or been a paid player of the online versions, with the exception of some of the weird iOS games, because I've never owned an iOS device. That being said, it appears to me, for all intents and purposes, that Final Fantasy is dead in everything but name. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to be a bad game, but it does not in any way look like a Final Fantasy game. Even 13, which was a large departure and in the wrong direction, in my opinion, from the series, did not go so far off the beaten path as this. This looks like a very third-person action, almost closer to something like God of War. Or
more like Kingdom Hearts.
Or Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is awesome.
Yes, well, Kingdom Hearts is a bit of a wow factor going from the IPs involved in it. But that being said, this does not look like a Final Fantasy game at all. No. And to be frank...
Did you play the demo?
I have not yet played the demo.
So they had a demo released, months ago.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, I played it, and it didn't get me. When I think Final Fantasy, I'm thinking you're running around, here's some battle music, you win, and then do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's turn-based, not just like all this open fighting real-time stuff.
Exactly, and we're both.
I like the classics where it's just okay. It's this person's turn. You can see who's coming up next.
Yeah.
You use your abilities and magic, and you're thinking tactically, not just mashing buttons.
Yeah, it's not Twitch-based. And I will say, we're both currently working our way through the recent re-release of the X and X2 remaster. Yeah. You're probably doing it on the Xbox One.
Actually, no, I have it on PlayStation. It's not on Xbox.
Okay, fair enough. I'm doing it on the PC. which I highly recommend to people who have not checked that one out if you want. It's not the definitive Final Fantasy. The definitive Final Fantasy, in my opinion, was 6, but that's way old school for most people. The graphics are not really up to date. So if you want a taste of the classic Final Fantasy, what it was like, I highly recommend picking up the X and X2 remaster. Yeah. It gives you a really good taste of that kind of tactical combat feel.
And Blitzball's awesome. That's what I do
Blitzball
mostly.
is
I love
awesome.
Blitzball.
You will either love or hate Blitzball, and the people who hate it, you are wrong. I've heard some people voice there and say, oh, it's just a distraction from the game. I have probably logged as many hours in Blitzball as I have in the actual game.
Played a lot of Blitzball. Same with the card game in 8.
Yeah, exactly. Triple Triad.
Yeah, that's Triple Triad.
We'll have to. We'll get into that later. We'll maybe do a Final Fantasy podcast at some point.
And one more thing, though.
Yep.
I heard it's been announced that the remake of Final Fantasy VII, it's going to have the same combat system as 15, and I find that to be very disappointing.
It's extremely disappointing because it is not an action game. It is a tactical, and not only a tactical game, but a very deep. I'm going to equip my guys with these weapons, these orbs. I think they're called materia orbs. I can't remember. It's been so long. And it was a very deep tactical game where you had to plan and think and stuff, and it's really not going to work with that system. One thing I wanted to mention about the 15 too, I don't know if you watched the whole gameplay demo, but I couldn't tell if the guy was just fucking awful at the game or if the game itself was just a giant clusterfuck. Because he didn't even seem to be...
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, because he didn't see... I understand you want to have a live gameplay demo, but he didn't seem to know what the hell he was doing. Like, all I saw was him getting his ass kicked by soldiers. Then he got his ass kicked again by the giant arm as it came down. And I'm pretty sure if they hadn't given him infinite health or something, he would have died. But that game did not look exciting or fun. It looked like a giant clusterfuck of everything everywhere. I understand they wanted to do the big set piece with that Titan, but that gameplay, I looked at that and I'm like, that did not make me say I want to get in on this. You know?
I played through the demo twice.
Yeah.
And then by the third time, because I really wanted to like it.
Yeah.
I came into it not liking the style they're going.
Yeah.
I played it through. I'm like, it's not bad. But then I played through it again. And I was just, you know what? I can't do a whole game of this.
Yeah.
I want it to be taking your turn, picking your moves, planning it out, being tactical, not just I'm just going to mash buttons. I don't want that.
It's not an action game series. And again, they've done a lot of spin-offs for Final Fantasy, so I don't know why you couldn't have called... And if I remember correctly, this was originally called Final Fantasy Versus, was the name of it, because it was meant to be a more action-oriented spin-off and not part of the main series. But color me unimpressed. Main thing, September 30th this year release, so it's not far away.
No.
But this is one I will definitely be watching gameplay on YouTube on before I go anywhere near. And to be frank and honest, this may be the first Final Fantasy which I do not own because it does not look like it is true to the spirit of the series at all. It looks like they just threw the name on it. Now, this is not to say it may not be an okay action game, but...
Well, I think for the game that it is now,
yeah,
it looks like a good game.
Yeah.
It's just not... When I think about wanting Final Fantasy, it's not what I want in a Final Fantasy game.
Final Fantasy has a pedigree, and this is not going to live up to it. That doesn't mean it'll be a bad game, but it's when I say I want to play a Final Fantasy game, this is not what I'm expecting.
And there's, you know what, for me personally, there's too many other games coming out in that time period that I would rather dump hours into than play that.
Exactly, 100%. And again, if they set it up to be an 80-hour game, there's no way I'm going to play that for 80 hours. It looks like something I'll be bored with in 5 hours. Anyway, so moving on to the Division Underground expansion, June 28th release. The trailer for this was a generic as fuck trailer for the most generic as fuck shooting MMO I have ever seen. If there's anything that exemplifies being generic, boring, and bland, I think it's a Division.
Yeah. I bought that game, and I think I bought the Season's Pass during the first little while of having the game. Because I was really loving it, enjoying it, and then I hit max level, and then it's just like, I really don't feel like grinding for my AK to go from one number to a higher number. I didn't want to grind it, and they've lost, I think I saw a report, they've lost like 93% of their player base.
It doesn't surprise me. There's no hook. There's no compelling, and that Dark Zone is not a compelling way to keep your game going.
No.
Especially now that everyone just runs around and throws sticky bombs at other people.
Yeah, no, I guess I own that stuff already, but I don't even know if I'll go back to it to even play it. I might just, you know what? I messed up. I spent a bunch of money on that game.
Yeah.
I got a good amount of fun out of it for like a week or two.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if I even want to go back to it to play it.
Well, that's it. It wasn't a bad game by any means. Now, don't get me wrong. But
it was fun playing it when I had it. Maybe I'll go back just to do whatever little bit new there is. But there's no. The game can't sustain my interest.
Exactly. It's not. It doesn't play. It plays like a shooter, and it's fun if you play through it as a shooter. But as an MMO, I think is where it fails.
No, I just think I'm just over grinding.
It is
for gear
and for nothing cool. I mean,
yeah.
If you look at probably the closest contemporary to it would be something like Destiny, which I personally am not a fan of. But at least if you're grinding in that game, you're going to get something cool like a rocket launcher that locks onto multiple people or stuff. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I understand they want to keep it real, but you know what? If I got to put 10 hours of work in to get the AK that brings my DPS up by 3 a second, that doesn't interest me at all.
No, I'd rather. Like, I don't mind grinding in fantasy games because you go from, like, I got this little wooden bow to all of a sudden I got this fantastic looking bow that's on fire and it shoots lightning arrows and it's just crazy. But you can't have that in the setting. Like, you're not going to have this crazy AK.
Yeah, you're not going to have a lightning gun or a flaming bullet gun. It just doesn't work.
It's like, okay, or it's like, oh, I got this beanie. Now I just got a red beanie.
Yeah.
Oh, no, like... I don't know. It was a fun game for when I did play it, but for the MMO grinding aspect and to keep me coming back, it's not there for me, and I honestly don't know if I will go back to it if I have enough people that want to play it with. I think my other friend bought the Seasons Pass as well.
Yeah.
If Adam and I want to go do that, then we'll go do that, but I don't know if I really want to even do it.
Same, fair enough, and I got nothing to pull me back in. Moving on after that, we had another trailer, well actually the same trailer for Battlefield 1 as was at the EA presser. We got the definitive release date from this one, which is October 21st. Lots of talk, blah, 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 blah. EA Access, you're going to get it early on the 13th of October, so about a week
18th.
Before, or 18th?
Yeah,
Sorry,
on Friday.
I must have wrote it down wrong. But yeah, so a few days earlier than everyone else, which is always cool. And other than that...
I think you also get that early release date if you get the early enlisters edition as well.
Whatever it's called, their advanced edition.
You get the Harlem Hellfighters pack and Red Baron and all kinds of cool stuff from World War I.
There's some cool stuff.
I'm excited to see Harlem Hellfighters. And
This game has just got me amped because no one's gone here, and it looks like they're going here in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, same trailers. Nothing especially new other than this gave us the definitive release date. So, moving on, there was a little bit of announcements about Xbox Live, Cortana functionality coming to Xbox Live, which, to be frank and honest, I don't really care about. We've got more on the cross-network play. They announced that you're going to be able to play background music, which I think was actually a feature on like the original Xbox.
Was on. I don't remember the original Xbox, but I'm pretty sure you could play music on Xbox 360.
Yeah, and this is something like, I'm sorry, you own the Windows operating system. How hard is it to make a program to play background music? And realistically, those of us who wanted it, we'd just put something on a speaker or have our phone beside us anyway. So to me, that's a very, unless they're planning on bringing things like Spotify or whatever to it, to me that's a real dud of a feature that should have been included since launch.
Well, and I found when they did switch over to Xbox One, they lost a lot of features that the 360 had. That it took them a while through updates to even put back into the game. One of the biggest ones being was when I believe it was like one of the first days of playing Xbox 360. You could go into the menus, and I play inverted on when I'm playing. I could switch it so everything was inverted. Yeah, that didn't come out until around when the Elite controller came out. Yeah, when they had that update where I can switch everything to inverted. But now I don't use it because I'd have to go back and unswitch everything
in each
that
game.
I've already in each game. So I'd rather just. It's just.
Yeah,
they lost a lot of little things like that were nice quality of life things to have for someone who's weird like me and plays inverted.
Right, and no reason why they should have to do that. That's they've obviously already got the functionality for it. It should have been so easy to port over. Last thing they announced was language region independence, which is very niche but also very cool. Yeah. So, for example, if you're a German speaker who lives in America, you can set your default languages to German from now on, which to me is almost useless, but because I happen to live in a country where my first language is the language of the country.
Yeah.
But I can see for those who, a Chinese native language speaker living in North America might really find that feature very useful.
No, for the people that affects, I'm sure that's a great new feature for them. And you know what? More things like that, the better. Help everyone else enjoy the console, no matter where they are in the world. And I think that's great.
I agree. So we've now brought us to some more features. They're talking about the more social features.
So clubs.
So clubs.
It sounds like basically an Xbox Live guild almost.
I like the idea that you could randomly go on and say, listen, I am a hardcore Battlefield 1 player looking for a regular squad who has one space open to play Tuesday nights at 6.
Yeah.
That seems like a cool idea to be able to do that.
I think it should be good. The thing, though, is I think that's a good thing to put into the game. Because of the party system, I have made very few new friends on Xbox.
Yeah.
Because I'm always in the party with the people that I've been gaming with for years.
Yep.
The only new people I've met are either friends of friends or real life friends of the guys that I play with.
Yeah.
Having the new way to reach out and find people that are of similar like-mindedness and skill, I think is going to be good. I did meet a lot of new friends playing Battleborn recently on Xbox.
Yeah.
I made like about 5 new friends in the first couple weeks of the game. And I think something like that. And then the other feature that they announced, which I wish they had this when like Destiny first came out or when Division was out, is they're putting in looking for a group.
Yes,
which I think is great.
That's a fantastic idea.
Some games are failing to put that in themselves. Yeah. And then you just go on and say, hey, I need 2 more for a raid in Destiny, or I'm looking to fill up my squad in Battlefield. You threw all that on. I think that's great.
Yep.
And I think that's a really, really needed feature. And I'm pumped for that.
I am too, especially for the big squad-based games. You mentioned Battleborn, a game which, although we don't have a big audience, I'm happy to give press to because it got not nearly
I love that game.
I love that game. But it is a game where you absolutely need to have people in it who know their role and know what they're doing. And that is exactly the kind of feature, whereas if I didn't know anybody else who played Battleborn, and I wanted, I need this support character, I want someone to play the sniper, I want someone to play the healer, that would be a great thing to pop up, or to even say, oh, look, I like to play the healer. Who needs a healer?
Yeah.
And then to find a random group, but at the same time know that they're looking for a healer, and or whatever you're looking for.
I think that's going to be a great feature. It's going to help out. There's a lot of team-based games now, and sometimes you might have some friends, they're not into that.
Yep.
And if you need to make new friends, find a group. Yep. You can hopefully be successful in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember, though, we did use it when I was pretty hard into Destiny. We did find some people that weren't so great, or they just kind of abused the system to get a checkpoint, and they're kind of assholes about it. But
nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect. There's assholes everywhere, and
exactly.
Hopefully you'll be able to filter through it and maybe make some new friends that might last for a while.
Exactly. I think that's great. And then they lastly mentioned the Arena, their tournament platform. Interesting idea. I think this will work best, honestly. It's not something that Xbox Live needs to do as a global service. It's more really something that more individual games need to focus on. At the same time, it's cool. It seems everyone's jumping on that esports bandwagon we talked about earlier. So the competitive scene, it's good stuff. What I am happy to see is that they're doing work to bring your average gamers into the social scene. An elite gamer is never going to have a problem finding someone who wants him in their group, but this seems a great way to get kind of people who maybe, again, I don't know, with the exception of Gapper here, I really don't know anyone else in the area who plays a whole lot on PC. And even he's just getting into it. So for me, it's not easy to go out and find a group of people that would play similarly. This service kind of seems like a great idea to say, okay, I'm a mid-range competitor. I want to find a group of people to play competitively with me at my level. So I kind of like that. I think it's a really great idea. And again, to get more gamers connected with other gamers.
You know what? And I think it's going to be a great service because recently most games are kind of have been going away from skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah.
You're just kind of... You might... Halo's done a good job, and a lot of the PC games have it where you have a season, you get your ranks. I think that's good. You find people of your skill level, but in a lot of games, it's just you rank up, you get XP, you never get your rank lowered, so you're not always having the best games. Because I find I have the most fun when you're playing with people that are of your skill level. Yes. Against people of your skill level.
Yes.
And then it's a good, exciting match. Because, we all have fun just stomping noobs. But
occasionally.
It's only so much fun for a while. Cause
exactly.
It's like, it dulls your skills. If you play against bad opponents, you're going to become bad yourself. And it's just going to make you're not going to be as sharp. If you're playing against really, really good opponents, you're just going to get stomped. If you can find that middle ground where it's a little bit above or a little bit below your skill level, where you're always having to evolve your play style and learn what you're doing and work as a team, I think that's great. And if this feature can get that skill-based matchmaking and competitiveness back into Xbox, I think that's great.
I agree 100%. So all good on the horizon there, nothing to really complain about. I mean, I'm sure with all of these features, we have people who will troll them and abuse them and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? That gets worked out over time. There's always jerks. You're going to get the people who use the looking for group system to say they want to be a healer in Battleborn, and then they're going to come in as a DPS. Whatever. You know what? In general, the fact that some people screw up the features doesn't change the fact that they're good features, in my opinion. So moving on into something that I am mostly done with and a Gapper was never hugely into. We had some news on Minecraft. I used to be big into Minecraft back way back without calling myself a hipster, but back when it was basically just Notch making a game.
Yeah, I got it for maybe $12, I think.
Yeah, same thing. It was $12 back in the day, and it was $12 US, but it was still $12.
Yeah. And
back when it had this weird quirky login screen and all this stuff. So great that it's still going, and I know it's launched an industry. I mean, there's a subset of YouTuber that just makes their money from Minecraft and nothing else. So don't get me wrong, I'm not disparaging the game. I'm just bored with it at this point. It hasn't evolved or innovated recently enough to keep my interest. And I've pretty much made all the block art out of the bodies of dead sheep that I can.
And you know what?
Of.
I think it's a great game. And I recently was doing a presentation at work at a school, and all the kids in the school had tablets. And after they came back in from recess, they were all on their tablets. They were running around fighting each other in Minecraft, and then working together to build cool things in Minecraft.
Yeah, it is a great teaching tool.
I did see that that Microsoft announced that they're going to be doing an educational version that they'll give for free to schools. Yeah. And I think it's a great educational tool because I think video games are great educational tools.
Exactly.
You can use that game and it shows you different materials, how to build stuff. You can use your imagination. I don't see really too many negatives from that game.
With the redstones, you can create real working circuit boards.
Yeah.
So it's great. However, that being said, there's not a whole lot in the way of news for this, and honestly, it felt like they were just throwing some news out there to kind of make it sound like something was happening. So the friendly update, whatever that's supposed to mean.
I did think it was cool that now you can. When you're say you started a server, you're offline. I can join your server, work on whatever we're building. Then when you come back on, we can just work on it together. I think that's fun, but
it is cool. But
watch out for griefing.
without sounding too pompous, it's something we've been able to do on PC since inception of Minecraft. Yeah. Basically, this whole I'm trying to find what they called it. But basically, it's a fancy way of saying now console players will be able to host their own dedicated server.
I never had friends on PC to play with.
Realms. That's what they called it, is Realms. So the Realms are basically just going to be you're renting a server from them.
Did they talk about how much you have to pay to rent this server?
They did not talk about the cost, and in fact, it was almost implied that it would be free until the very end where they mentioned that there would be a cost, but they didn't mention what it is.
Because the way they were first going about it, I'm like, is this just gonna be like a free server, dedicated server thing? But I was like, on PC, you always had to kind of pay for that, right?
You had to run your own
from someone or run your own. But no, I guess if they're gonna charge for it, but
hopefully
it costs money to run a server.
Exactly,
right?
it costs money. I don't blame them for charging for it. Hopefully, it'll be a reasonable fee. A couple of bucks a month or something. But basically, it looks like the console and mobile versions. Which are now going to be cross-platform, though unfortunately they won't be cross-platform with PC because the PC is a lot more feature-rich. But that
and
being
with the
said,
amount of mods that you can have on it, it'd be
it's insane what
completely
you can
different
do.
game.
But it looks like that they are now finally catching up to a lot of the features that have been enjoyed on PC for a while. So for maybe someone who has only played Minecraft on the Xbox or has only played Minecraft, hopefully not on mobile because the experience is terrible compared to what you can get on a console or whatever. I'm hoping that maybe the people who play that, this will revitalize it a little for them, give them a taste of what they've been missing. But yeah, basically the whole Realms thing is just slang for saying we're going to rent you servers now.
Yeah.
But that's great. It's cool. Let them experience that. There was a brief clip, Xbox Design Lab, about this custom controller. Looks really cool, but I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I bought an Elite controller, and I really don't feel like getting another one because it was expensive.
Yeah, same thing. Really no need to buy.
No.
And you know what? Yeah, I understand.
It looks sweet.
It looks cool.
It looks
if you really want to mix and match, you want a taupe top with purple buttons and a see-through start button and an orange X button, whatever.
Yeah, if you're the person that really cares what your controller looks like, great.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine with what color I have.
Exactly. And to be honest, like if I were going to buy a controller, I would rather buy like a themed controller. Like, if I'm going to buy like a Street Fighter controller or a Resident Evil controller, rather than just one that's got a mismatch of colors. It's interesting that they said there's so many combinations though, because I don't know whether they're going to print them on demand or they're just going to sell you a blank controller with face plates and buttons and things to customize on your own. So we'll see where that goes.
Xbox tried with faceplates. I don't think it didn't really stick when they had the faceplates for the 360.
Yeah. So
we'll see how those controllers work out.
Yep. So next up we had Inside. Yeah, Inside. Looked like a lot of this one. Honestly, I can't even remember what this game was.
I tried to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't.
A lot of people in a very stylized space. The trailer was ominous as all fuck, but super generic. They talk about how it's going to be a masterpiece, and I'm like, it's a masterpiece of what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't. The trailer did not convey anything, and it honestly was weird, but not that interesting.
You know what? And I've almost already forgotten about it. So
yeah, so that's not a good sign.
There's too many other things that I am excited for.
Yeah. However, they did also mention that their previous game, Limbo, is currently free for Xbox One users. So might be worth a look.
I didn't see it when I was looking last night.
Fair enough. That I'm just reading my notes from this.
I remember them saying there was a few things that would be free, and it didn't really jump out at me where it was.
Yeah.
So I'll have to take another look tonight.
Yeah, we'll take a look for sure. Then we moved on to what they called ID at Xbox, which is their independent developer studio. I am glad that Xbox has thrown so much support towards independent developers working on that platform. PlayStation has only recently just kind of caught up with that. However, the result is, of course, there's also a lot of shit to wade through when you're going through that.
Well, that's like the old Xbox arcade. Back on 360, they had the Xbox indie games, and for like 80 Microsoft points back in the day, you get some crazy game. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think like more indie games are better, and yeah, you might have to play like 10, 15 games before you find one that's half decent, but
that still costs you the same as one AAA game. So a couple of notes I put down on the
and the preview program's great.
The preview program's great. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I have there's some separate notes on that, but just on the idea at Xbox stuff. First of all, Cuphead, fuck yeah! I'm sorry, that looks
pretty
awesome.
Cool.
I don't understand why it's taken so long to develop a 2D animated thing. Maybe it's just the animations are hard and detailed. Because we saw that at last year's E3 and we were pretty excited for it then.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic, that 1950s cartoon.
It looks pretty cool.
Thing looked very cool. I just want them to hurry up and finish the fucking game, to be frank and honest. Other than that, Outlast, which they put on there, that's fucking old news. Outlast came out on PlayStation 4 like a year ago, I think, if not more. Really wasn't that great of a survival horror game to begin with, in my opinion. We've had it on PC forever.
Kind of over those.
Exactly. Nothing special. It's yet if you really want yet another creepy survival, you can't fight back, you can only run game, have at it. Lots of rapid fire stuff. Ones that really stood out, there was one called Shadow Tactics I didn't see a lot of, but it looked like a tactical turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Looked kind of neat.
I like tactical turn-based combat, so hopefully that game delivers. And
Exactly.
Exactly.
And into things that will cause the salt to flow. I don't know if you caught the Hand of Fate 2 trailer.
I saw that
there was a lot of salt
really salty.
flowed on the last one. I hope that they get the same voice actor for the dealer, because that guy made the game.
Dealer
in my
is really
opinion.
good. And you know what? I think that game would benefit from a sequel, because I enjoyed the bit I did play. But if they can just refine the combat a bit more,
Yeah.
I think it could be a really great game.
I think what that game needs more than anything else, and hopefully the success of the first allow them to afford it, is to motion capture a fighter. Because the combat was awkward and clunky. If you're out there, guys, seriously, I'm volunteering. Former professional mixed martial artist here, believe it or not. I don't know crap about fighting with weapons, but if you need someone to do Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I am happy to be your guy. I got a funny feeling that it's not who you're looking for, but that aside, that's...
if they can make the animations a little better in the combat...
Smooth. It was
smoother,
clunky. It was very
clunky. I think it could be a really good hit.
I think so, and I loved the first, and that game had so much character, and it was the dealer that brought it to life. Because when he was being a smartass when you lost, or whether he was just speaking ominously when you won, I still have no idea what the story of the game is supposed to be, but I don't care. It was that well done.
Yeah, I don't know how far I got in it, but I can't remember now. But no, I had fun with the bit I did play of it.
Yeah, for sure. I remember you were very upset when your endless mode drew a few crappy cards in a row.
Oh yeah, like
it just
all
tanked
my
you
food and just tanked me. No, I got the dealer. The dealer really got me on that one.
Anyway, so we're looking forward to seeing him again. A couple of indie games which I have kickstarted that we saw some basic footage from. Bloodstained, which is Iga's new game, who, for those who don't know, was the creative mind behind most of the Castlevania games. He is now on his own, which seems to be a growing trend with people who used to work for Konami. And so he kickstarted a game called Bloodstained. I can't remember what the subtitle is, but it's an Igvania game in the lines of Symphony of the Night and previous Castlevanias. They had a little bit of footage from that. Looked pretty good. I'm glad I kickstarted it. Another one was Yooka-Laylee. I don't know if you heard about that one. It was made by the team who made Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, and it's basically the same game, and they've just changed the names of the characters to avoid copyright. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. They had a little bit of footage from each, not much, just kind of cuts
just a
from
little
that.
montage.
But it looked good. They announced that Ark Survival Evolved, which I believe has been in early access since early access started being a thing.
Yeah, it's been on the Xbox preview program for a long time now.
So it's going to be on Play Anywhere. So that's got, if you have it on Xbox, you'll have it on PC and vice versa, which is good because that game has a lot of promise if they ever finish it.
Yeah, no, I downloaded it. I haven't actually played it yet.
Yep.
But I've seen a lot of game clips from some of my friends, and looks pretty cool.
It does look pretty cool.
I just don't know if I want to put that amount of time into it just to do one cool thing with the pterodactyl or something.
Right. It's will there be enough game to back up the coolness factor of a survival game with dinosaurs? That's what it comes down to. Is there a game to back? It's awesome in concept. Is there a game to back it up? Next up, we had something which I think is a bit ridiculous, and that is a preview of what will be an upcoming early access game, an upcoming Xbox preview game, We Happy Few.
They showed it a little bit last year.
Yeah.
I was interested in it last year. Watching the trailer, I was interested in it, but I don't understand what the hell is going on, which I think is part of the allure of it. They're taking their happiness pills, and it looks interesting, but...
If I may elaborate a bit, this one is a little bit more interesting to me because I was born in 1984, which for those of you who don't know is also the year of a book called 1984, which was about this dystopian future where, and I actually thought that this was before they announced what the game was. I thought that the trailer was from 1984, the game. They redact news so that people don't see it.
Yeah.
They take pills to be happy all the time. This is obviously inspired by that world a lot. So to me, the story looks interesting. The main guy sounded really, really sad. They got a great voice actor to play because he sounded, it's like, oh, looks like we're getting behind on our work. Like, he sounded so depressed. So that was interesting. My big note that I put with it was WTF, WTF indeed. And that's basically what it comes down to at the end. It seems interesting. It also seems like a game you wouldn't want on a preview early access because it looks like the game you're going to want to play once for the story.
No, that was one of my points that I was thinking when I saw it. I said, why is a single player game going to be a preview. I said I would like to kind of
a single-player narrative-driven game, obviously, unless there's a lot of paths.
Yeah, like if I'm going to play through this game, I don't want to miss out on things that like might come out in an update or a patch that could have been earlier in the game. Like, I just think maybe
it looks like a game you play once.
Yeah, it looks like a game I would just play through once, depending on replayability. With maybe there's more options, but I feel like this would be a game I would just want to wait until it's finished.
Yeah, that strikes me as it doesn't look like a bad game. It looks like a bad candidate for a preview early access program.
Like, I think a good candidate for a preview. Arc, great, big open world game.
Exactly.
Elite Dangerous. Great.
Elite Dangerous, I think, was an example of how to do early access.
No, that was a really good preview program game. I bought it on the preview program, played a lot of hours, did a lot of grinding for money, and then just kind of quit.
Yeah, but it's the kind of game that, you know what, an update comes and you want to go play it again.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of game where you think, oh, well, they updated this one scene from Chapter 2, so now I got to go back and play through again. Like, you know, that's... So, anyway, we'll see. Like I said, not bashing the game. It's intriguing.
No,
I still don't know what the fuck's going on.
I'm very interested in the game. I'd like to know the world and what the heck is going on, but...
What I don't want is spoilers.
I don't want to
until
spoil
we get
the
to
game in, like... It doesn't seem like a good preview for me.
Exactly, 100%. Good-looking game, not a good candidate for a preview program. Moving on. So, CD Projekt Red, as soon as they came out, I'm like, sweet.
Yes!
So, for those of you who don't know, me and Gapper are both hashtag Gwent Life.
Gwent Life.
Gwent Life. Between the two of us, we've probably put more hours into Gwent than most people have put into The Witcher. Yeah. Though by the guy's announcement, apparently we're not the only ones.
No, we're not the only ones. I heard in an interview, he said that every time they would get an email, they have to respond to the email. And he got so many emails about, hey, can you make a Gwent game?
Yeah.
That they're like, we should make a Gwent game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now it's like, well, someone asked like, oh, you guys could just pull out of the game and make it a game?
Yeah.
No, we got to balance that because the way Gwent was set up in the game is you ramp up so hard, you're having the most overpowered deck. So I know they're going to be limiting heroes, hero cards, and I think it's a fantastic game. I think I was a Gwent player first and a Witcher second.
Exactly. Witcher was our hobby. Gwent was our career.
Yeah.
So great things about it. Multiplayer, cross-system compatible, not just on both, but Xbox players can play against PC players and vice versa. Or I should say, Microsoft was very clear that it's only Windows 10, which seems to me is another push to upgrade. And believe it or not, this year's E3 may have convinced me to upgrade to Windows 10 on my gaming rig. I'm still running Windows 7 at the moment. So that being said, absolutely nothing I saw that was wrong. When I heard single-player campaign, I just about jizzed in my pants because there's going to be a now Gwent campaign. The game known as The Witcher 3 is what I also called Gwent, the campaign. Yeah. So now we're going to actually have a proper Gwent campaign. That's fantastic.
Finally decided to buy the Season's Pass for The Witcher and hopping in. I actually started playing Hearthstone last night. I'm like, there better be new fucking Gwent cards. Like, I want to play some Gwent.
There's more Gwent to come. So that is excellent. The one thing I hope is please, no free-to-play with microtransactions, CD Projekt Red. I will pay a fee for the game. I will pay a fee for expansions. But I don't want to have to grind hundreds of hours or pay hundreds of dollars to be competitive. I want to buy the game as I would buy a pack of Gwent cards if they actually existed and play the game that way.
I feel like if they make it where you can buy packs of Gwent cards, I think I'd spend all my money.
I'm honestly worried about that. For those who don't know, between me and Gapper, we spend probably more than the GDP of several countries on video games in a year. That being said, I'm sure that 90% of that would go towards Gwent packs. So please, none of that, because I like to eat and I like to live in a place with 4 walls and a roof, and that's not going to happen.
Like, I have not bought with real money any Hearthstone packs, but I've been so damn close.
Yeah.
And with Gwent, a game that I hope that I'll really enjoy and play all the time. I feel like I'm going to get wrecked when I play against a good person, though.
Yeah, because we're used to stomping.
My whole strategy in the card game was put my guys out, then just use all my decoys, pull my guys back. They used all their cards, and then I just win the second and third round. I never tried to win the first round ever. My whole strategy revolved around winning the second and third, and hopefully getting them to waste all their cards in the first round.
That's fair enough. But anyway, as you can tell, we're both pretty excited for Gwent as its own standalone game. I hope this is the start of something that they continue.
Who was your main deck?
I played the default mainly. Was it Northern Realms?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I played that mainly.
I played a Northern Realms with a lot of the cards where if you had two of the same one, they'd double up.
Yeah, the Dragon Slayers and
the Dragon Slayers
Commandos.
And the Commandos, and I had a couple of the Catapults.
Yeah, same thing here. Well. And then I had the staples, the Scorch, and the one that doubles your back row and all that stuff.
The dragon that would just scorch when he'd be put into play.
Yeah, so that was overall great, fucking great game. Obviously,
did you sign up for the beta?
I have not. For those who have not yet, I have to.
The beta. I already signed up.
PlayGwent.com for those who haven't signed up. Beta starts in September, so I'm going to be in for that, and everyone should get in on the beta because this is going to be so much better if it's properly balanced and well play tested. Yeah. Not that CD Projekt Red has ever had a problem getting a large number of fans to do something at once, but
no, hopefully, and I would like to. Hopefully, the game's great on the start, but I'll definitely voice my concerns if I think there's anything out of whack, so we can make a great card game.
Yeah, for sure. This is right now. I've been playing what some people call a Hearthstone killer. It certainly won't be, but Chronicle RuneScape Legends, great online card game. But when this comes out, all the rest will be gone, guaranteed, and I'll be straight into Gwent. So moving on, Tekken, which I thought was going to be another Tekken versus Street Fighter because I loaded it up and immediately we saw Heihachi Kazama against Akuma, who is a Street Fighter character. However, apparently it's just straight up Tekken 7, which is cool. The trailer was badass, but I noticed there were QuickTime events. Why are there QuickTime events in my one-on-one fighting game? I don't know. I don't want QuickTime events in my one-on-one fighting game. I don't like QuickTime events in general. I really don't want to see them in a one-on-one fighting game, which should be extremely skill-based, not Twitch button pressing placed. It basically, we don't want button mashing scrubs. We want skilled players. So to me, that's that. I'm glad that they showcased the villains for once. It was basically two bad guys fighting each other. And Gabber's a little silent because he's not really big into this type of games. He really doesn't care.
Big Tekken guy. Don't really.
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
Really care.
Couple cool things. Story mode to game was seamless, so it goes straight from cutscene to your guys are facing off fighting, which I thought was a cool feature for a fighting game. I found very amusing in the translation because the speaker, I should have written down his name, spoke in Japanese, had a translator. The translator translated something as "thank y'all." There is no y'all in Japanese, just for the record. I just thought that was amusing. That being said, also...
Is that the guy that was wearing the kimono that came out?
Yes. Yeah. That being said, Xbox Gold members will get Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which I think is like a 10-year-old game, to be honest, for free. But it's a fun fighter, so if you want to play a fighting game and get a little of the Tekken experience, not a bad way to go, and there are no QTEs in it, so we got that going for us. Then we moved on to Dead Rising 4, release date of December. Honestly, at this point, I gave a huge shrug. I love the first Dead Rising because it was
like
different.
The way they presented the trailer.
They did not present it well.
They panned out
because of the stupid snowfall effect of tinsel in the room on the press. And I'm just like, you know what? That's great for the people in the room. I don't care. Let me see the trailer.
Yeah, no, I don't care what the audience is doing. I want to see the trailer. Show me full screen your damn trailer.
Exactly. That's pretty much what I got from there. Some cool stuff. Flaming zombie catapult. Looks like they've embraced the over the top and just said, fuck it, we're going to have
definitely
crazy
shit.
I
think that's awesome.
That part is cool. Same thing that happened with the Saints Row franchise. Eventually they abandoned the seriousness and went into the crazy.
Well, Saints Row was never too serious to begin with.
Oh, the first one was just GTA with a different name. It was super serious.
But it was still very, very funny. It
yes.
didn't take itself too seriously.
That's true.
But,
by 3 and 4?
The 3 and 4 is just like, I'm president and I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah. And then when they actually had the Gat Out of Hell, which was a fantastic expansion or standalone, but it's like you're literally one of the characters in hell flying around with powers. So that was cool. I'm glad this one's also embracing the crazy, but at this point I'm just shrugging my shoulders. I stopped caring about Dead Rising after the first one. I don't know why we need a fourth at this point.
Yeah, I think the thing is a lot of companies these days are just too scared to make a new IP.
I think so. And of course, I mean, it's one of those things when you have a team that's made something that people know sells, and let's say, it's going to cost you, your team costs you $1 million a year, so it's going to cost you $4 million to do a dev cycle, but this team can pump out a game that's worth $10 million, that's still up $6 million, so it makes sense to keep pumping them out.
If you can continue to make money on it, you always got to remember, the video game industry is a business. They're not just making games. Like, the people that are making the games might make the games because they love it, but those are a lot of the indie developers. The ones at the big studios, they're going to get the best, and they're going to say, make this game, we think this is going to make money. Yeah. Until it's for money.
Until it stops making money.
Until we stop buying the games that we don't like.
It's the same thing. People complained about, and now they've changed it a bit. We'll get into it later. But people complained about Call of Duty was getting too samey. Well, the reason why they made from Modern Warfare to Black Ops 2 before they finally went into the futuristic slidey stuff.
Millions of copies.
They made $1 billion a game. So yeah, they're going to keep making the same thing, even if they only make $600 million off the next one. They don't care. That's still like they put $50 million in, they make $550 million. That's a pretty big deal, even if it is kind of crap.
That's a good return on your investment.
Exactly, it's a hell of a return on your investment. So I understand why they do it, but again, you know what? Not a big one for me, but for those, obviously enough people still enjoy it that they're still making it. So
good on you if you like it.
Good on you if you like it. So moving on, very impressed too with Microsoft. I found their last year's one was a little talky. This one did have some talking, but it wasn't overly talky. EA had too much talky.
Compared to the next conference we'll do at another time.
Yes.
Everyone had too much talk.
That is correct. However, that being said, compared to previous Microsoft, I think had a good pacing this year. However, that being said, they did start talking a bit now. There were a bunch of corporate buzzwords thrown out about Microsoft Studios. Some corporate buzzwords about, the Xbox Play Anywhere. Looks like they've really learned from what the fans have said over the past couple of years.
They're showing us games now, at least, not talking about Xbox TV, because I don't have a satellite or cable. You don't have satellite or cable.
Either.
And I always laugh when I give my Xbox a command and it accidentally goes to TV. I'm like, there's no TV hooked up here.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. And we are in a generation now, in 20 years, no one's going to even know what the heck we're talking about. What do you mean you paid money for TV? You didn't just watch it on the internet. Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the people who pirate stuff. I'm just talking about most TV now. You go to the TV's website, you watch through their commercials, you just watch stuff on TV. But
I can't
anyway.
stand, and then another thing too, this is just a total offshoot. I can't stand watching TV the old way where it comes out once a week. I don't have the attention span.
Oh, no, they're not. I want to Netflix it, and I'm going to watch 8 episodes one day and the next. I have, for those who don't know, me and my lovely wife have been watching for the last probably 3 months, 2 hours of Supernatural every day to catch up because we just discovered the series. And that's how I want to watch it. I don't want to wait and see what happens. And the worst is, especially, I'll use the show Supernatural since we're talking about it. Every season has a cliffhanger. Every single season has a cliffhanger. So you're waiting. That's nonsense. You don't want to wait 6 months to find out what happens next.
The one thing that they didn't talk about, which I wish they did, because I believe it was last year they talked about it, was kind of putting the different TV apps like HBO on Xbox.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't jumped on that because you've got things like Roku and similar products out there that already do that. They consolidate your Netflix, your Hulu.
Although they might have that on Xbox, but it just might not be available in Canada because we kind of always do get shafted on that where...
Yeah, with the cross-border licensing issues.
Oh, yeah, we have this cool thing for Xbox, but Canada doesn't get it because... Yeah. Stupid CRTC.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll work itself out because you've got Netflix on almost everything. My Nintendo 3DS has Netflix on it, so I'm assuming that it's going to work itself out. But yeah, you're right. That wasn't mentioned at all. Maybe they just realized that everyone's doing it on other systems anyway, so they just don't care. Or they'll push it for Windows 10.
Maybe. Yeah.
So next up, this looks fucking fantastic. Scalebound. I love the look of it. First of all, fucking Hideki Kamiya. Or if it's Japanese, Kamiya Hideki. I don't know if I'm saying it right because they say their names backwards. He's really fucking cool. If you follow him on Twitter, don't say anything even remotely weird to him because he will fucking curse and swear at you, and I wanted him to start cursing and swearing at the audience. I feel it's a crowning achievement that he made it through E3 without blocking and swearing at his entire audience because that's the kind of guy he is. So, at PG_Kamiya, I believe is his Twitter, if you want some entertainment when he posts in English, just do not tweet at him, especially if it's a question someone already asked him because he will get pissed. That being said, Platinum Games, I generally love their games.
Yep,
great
games,
action-filled
great.
games. So, this looks really good. I am very happy to see that it's now coming to Windows 10 because Scalebound's been in production for several years. I've been following it because I like Platinum Games. Keeps getting delayed because they put out the Transformers game, then they put out the Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah.
For those who don't know Platinum, the most popular hit they've probably done that most people would know is Bayonetta.
Yeah, Bayonetta's great.
Bayonetta's great, and this looks epic in scale. They chose a fantastic... The people who did the Final Fantasy 15 trailer needed to watch this when they chose their set piece, because this looked absolutely fantastic.
And then that 4-player co-op fight.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
It looked fantastic. I was laughing my ass off, though, when they had all these big cannons and the dragons flying at him, and then that one guy had that little pew-pew laser gun. He kept shooting at the crab. I'm just like, what the hell are you doing with this little laser machine gun doing, like, 0 damage each hit to this crab? But it looks good. This game will probably be the catalyst for me updating to Windows 10. It looks absolutely fantastic. This is what I call a giant enemy crab.
Yeah.
So that was a fucking huge enemy crab. It looks like... And do you know what I saw when I saw this, though? Do you know what I looked at this and said? How fucking cool would this be in VR? If this comes to virtual reality. Like the dragon riding stuff. It may be a little quick, because again, Doom's another one would probably be too quick for VR. This one looks the same way, but holy shit, would that look cool.
VR, so
yeah, exactly.
How they do it.
And then the part where he climbs on this giant crab and he's just fucking punching away at it.
He's just punching its leg and, it's dead.
Yeah.
So.
Just like, okay, whatever. That's the magic of reducing things to 0 hit points.
Yeah.
But that being said, looks fantastic. I love the look of this game. I am probably going to be picking this one up on release. I love the co-op aspect. I love riding... Like, riding dragons is fucking cool. People have known this for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I like dragons.
Yeah. And riding on them...
Riding dragons is cool.
Yeah.
Except for that one Connect dragon game they made at the start of Xbox One.
Yeah.
That game was pretty bad.
Yeah. But this one looks like it should be good.
But yeah. Like Panzer Dragon Art, that was a cool game.
Oh, I loved Dort. That game was my favorite game. That was it the original Xbox? I think it was the original Xbox. It might have been 360.
I think it might have been on 360 or right near the generation gap.
Yeah. That was a fantastic dragon riding game. But anyway, we like riding dragons. This looks like it's going to scratch that itch and then some. So looking forward to that.
While wearing pretty sweet headphones.
Exactly. Sweet headphones for sure.
Gotta get my Beats by Dre on.
Yeah. So release date undefined 2017. Yeah. So still a ways away yet, but from the look of it, it's still...
2017's leading up to be a pretty great year.
I think so. And that had a lot of polish on it already by the look of it.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
Well, they even had gameplay last year, I believe. So
I think so, yes.
They're moving along on it.
They're moving along. And again, it's Platinum. They have yet to disappoint me. If you haven't played Bayonetta yet, go fucking play Bayonetta 2. Because it comes with Bayonetta 1, first of all.
Yeah.
And they're both ridiculous and just awesome. And you will not only love the game, but you will love the character herself. She is fucking cool. Moving on to Sea of Thieves. So, a couple things that looked cool and a couple things that didn't. Pirates are always cool.
Pirates
I love me some pirates. That being said, the way they talked about it being a quote-unquote emergent experience and we just put people on ships and send them out, that almost strikes me as lazy game design a little bit. I understand you want people to go and do what they're going to do, but at the same time, this was a very select cut of a sea battle. Yes, it looked cool. Don't get me wrong.
The battle looked fun. It's kind of interesting where you gotta go down into the bottom of the ship and try to fix the holes and the water's rising. You might drown, but I remember seeing on Twitch. I don't remember what it was called, but there was some people playing a pirate game that looked better graphics, that like more realistic looking graphics than this, with better pirate gameplay.
Yeah,
and I think it was like a early access pirate game.
Exactly. And the other thing I wanted to mention about this is that they said that they just put these people out, bullshit. This was obviously
it
scripted.
was so
scripted that I don't mind if you want to say, listen, our world is going to have this thing where you go out and do it at what you're going to do. We talked earlier about Dishonored 2, right? That's a game where that's going to happen. This was not just some people fucking around like in Minecraft or something. They said, listen, you're going to go do this fight. We want you to show off the holes in the ship.
I would swear a lot more if all of a sudden there's another ship shooting at us.
Yeah.
I'd be freaking out. I'd be swearing.
Yeah.
They just, everyone kept it calm and...
Yeah, no one cares. So it was very, very, very scripted. On the other hand, it has some promise. It does look like it's going to be fun, and I think, honestly, if I've ever seen a game where you want to get together a bunch of your friends and get them a few shots in them first, this looks like a game that would be fun to play that way.
Get some rum into you and get out on the high seas.
Exactly. But that being said, I really need to see a lot more gameplay. I'm not hugely enthused, but on the other hand, the concept is very cool.
Yeah.
But the gameplay did not make me feel...
Hopefully there's a demo for it.
Yeah, I'd love to see a demo.
I don't know if I'd be willing to pay full price just to try that game out.
Yeah.
But hopefully there's some sort of beta or demo.
As a member, newly minted member of the glorious PC Master Race, remember that all games on Steam within the first week in less than 2 hours of gameplay, guaranteed refunds.
But will that be on Steam though? That game?
That's a good question.
Because it seems like with all this Windows 10 stuff is you have
to
buy
keep
it on
the
Xbox,
App Store,
and then you can play it on PC. But I haven't actually.
They have not explained it at all. Are you going to have to buy it on their App Store, or is it only
what I was doing last night? I was looking. So I was looking on my computer.
Yep.
Because I downloaded the Halo Wars 2 beta.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be one of these crossplays.
Yep.
I don't even know if crossplay is like a thing yet.
It may not. I think they mentioned it's not until October or something.
Okay.
So
because I looked on my thing, I wanted to see maybe even if it was just like, hey, it's here. Like I couldn't run it right now probably, but I wanted to even see if there was an icon for it somewhere. But no, it doesn't seem to be the case. It's just going to be the betas on Xbox. I haven't even been able to get it running yet because every time I've gone for it, it's actually just froze.
Interesting.
Yeah,
betas tend to be
3 times.
Yeah, betas tend to be system specific too, though. So we won't worry too much. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. I prefer to get everything on Steam mostly because I just like to click one thing and it gives me a list of games.
So much better.
So convenient. But
the sales are so good compared to Xbox.
Oh yeah. Anyway, moving on. State of Decay 2. Did you play State of Decay 1?
Nope.
I did play State of Decay 1. State of Decay. State of Decay. So, first of all, the concept, very fucking cool. Survival zombie game, not that there aren't a million of those, but base building, you gather survivors, you rescue people, you hunt down super zombies, all sorts of stuff. Very cool concept. Unfortunately, a buggy, gigantic pile of shit. The game itself, in concept, on paper, was great, and if the game worked the way it was supposed to, it was great. However, the developers basically abandoned it, and now we've got State of Decay 2 coming.
That's a little weird.
So there's two things that's going to happen here. First of all, I thought it was cool the guy was driving, door prizing the zombies. Yeah. It's going down the road. That would be cool. However, here's the thing. If they learn from their mistakes, this could be a chance at redemption. If this game is what State of Decay 1 was supposed to be, I'll be very impressed. I'll be very happy. And I will play the shit out of it. I probably put 20 hours into State of Decay. I finished the campaign. I didn't play through there's like an endless mode. I never played through it because the fucking bugs and stuff kept getting me killed. But anyway. So if it's what the first one was supposed to be, great. However, they really need to do something, be like, okay, listen, if you buy this, you get a copy of the first free, or if you bought the first, you get a big discount, because they did screw the pooch hard on the first one.
That's kind of, I feel like that's just a really shitty business model is, hey, yeah, our first game wasn't that great, but we're making a second one. You should buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully it's better, and maybe, like, you're kind of fucking over people that paid money for your first game that it sounds like it never really got finished.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see. This is one, honestly, there's not many times where I'll take a moral stand and say, listen, these developers aren't getting any of my money. This may be one of those cases, unless the game is fantastic, because I own State of Decay, plus the expansions for the original, because I thought it was very cool in concept, and I got fucked hard. So, that being said, moving on, Halo Wars 2. I thought this one, it looked like they were trying to capture the original Gears of War with the kind of mellow, dramatic music in the background while battles are going on.
I thought the trailer was pretty cool.
I thought it was.
You got the different commanders walking towards each other while there's combat going on around them. And the trailer looked great. The game looked a lot more RTS-like than the previous. They didn't show a lot of gameplay, but there was a lot more units on screen,
exactly.
A lot more going on. But my only thing is like, okay, we can control more units, but if I have to control that with a controller, I'm gonna hate my life.
Exactly. So hopefully they've got some queuing system where you can quickly tag, units to bind to the buttons.
They said you can map units to the D-pad. That's 4.
Yeah. Well, maybe 8.
I guess, yeah. But then, like, when I was back in the day playing StarCraft, I'd have like 0 to like 9,
and then you need to be able to flip between those rapidly to be an
very
effective
fast
player. So,
and then with the crossplay, hopefully it works well on PC, and I think I'd play way better on PC with a mouse and keyboard with a RTS game than the controller. Even though the first one wasn't that bad because it was designed from the ground up for a controller, but all it was you're not managing your base. You're just saying, all right, this square of 8 squares is this. This is this. This is this. Yeah. And all you had to do is move around a small amount of units. But if there's more units that you're using, trying to manage that with a controller is just pretty hard.
Well, I think what it's going to come down to is this. They're either going to have a dumbed-down RTS like the first, which is designed for controllers, which was not per se a bad game, but was...
No,
I describe it as baby's first RTS. It was very basic. Or it's going to be a deeper RTS, which is going to suffer on consoles because you can't use the mouse. I don't know if there's a happy middle ground they can go on this. You're going to either lose one crowd or the other, I think, and I hope they just make up their mind and pick one. Yeah. That's my opinion. Because it could be good in either. The universe is great for it. There's all sorts of cool units.
It's an absolutely great setting for an RTS game.
Absolutely.
Maybe next year we'll finally see Halo Kart. That's a big one on everyone's list. But no, Halo as a RTS, I think it's great. Lots of diverse units. Those mech walkers, I guess those are supposed to be like a different upgraded Mantis.
Yeah.
Those looked pretty cool.
They did look pretty cool.
And then they were dropping the drop pods on the Covenant or Brute guys' forces, and no, it looked like a great game. There's so much going on around them in that trailer.
Yep.
And then it looks like there's a lot more units. It's funny because I like to watch a lot of competitive StarCraft.
Yeah.
And like that's not how you fight in an RTS game. Everything you don't just throw everything in one big
grab
ball.
all my units, go into their base.
Unless you're playing Protoss Death Ball.
Yeah.
But like if you're playing as Terran or you're moving in and out harassing, so I wonder how much of an advantage if you have the mind of a PC RTS player.
Yeah.
If like how well you're going to be able to harass and just mess with people that have never really played an RTS game before.
I got a funny feeling that if it caters too much to be good on console, you're not going to get any of those players playing it anyway. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. Certainly not a StarCraft killer, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
So, moving on next, we had some just general corporate buzz speak and stuff. My notes say, and I'll repeat it, blah, 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 tech that the PC has had for years. Some of the things that I laughed my ass off was when he said, I literally laughed out loud. This is not me typing lol. This is me literally burst out laughing when he said, these are the highest quality pixels anyone has ever seen.
Oh, I saw the post on Reddit of pixels versus Xbox high quality pixels.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I lost it.
And also mentioning, 60 hertz, as if that's an achievement.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, no. Not even. I've played many things on consoles.
30 FPS lock.
Yeah,
all right.
Seriously, 60 hertz is not an achievement. 60 FPS should be your bare minimum for any kind of game that's action. Yes, big turn-based strategy games can maybe play a little slower, but anything that's speed-based, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, action games like your Smash Brothers style games, anything like that, that should be 60 hertz. Which really should be 60 FPS. The hertz aren't as important. The hertz is just how fast it refreshes on your screen. But 60 frames per second should be your minimum standing point. Don't mean to preach towards the PC master race, but that's what should be the minimum. Don't give me a slower game, again, unless it's a type of game where it doesn't matter so much, your twitch reactions and movements. They used a lot of terms to avoid showing how weak the new Project Scorpio is. So they said it's going to be part of the family of Xbox One and that all games will work across it. Now, this to me means one of two things. One, you're going to buy a Scorpio game, you're going to pop it in your Xbox One, and you're going to get a stripped down, probably 30 FPS locked.
That's my concern.
Lower resolution version.
Because, okay, Xbox One's not powerful enough for VR is basically what they're saying.
Yes.
So now we have Scorpio. They're going to have 4K games. Awesome. But it's been so close to the Xbox One release. You're releasing the Xbox One S. It's just going to be... So you're going to have this awesome game. It's just going to be a downgraded version for Xbox One.
Yeah.
And it's going to run back, and then people might not want to even go as far as they can because they got to cater to two systems. We're almost going back to the start of the generation when people were developing...
Yeah, where they developed for a 360 and an Xbox One at the same time.
And then they developed for the One, and it would be a slightly reduced version on the 360. And I think that's not that great. But yeah, I guess they have to do something to be VR ready.
VR is the thing.
And right now, as a company, Microsoft is way behind compared to VR of everyone else. And if they don't, theirs might be, hopefully they'll learn from everyone else's mistakes while they have this lagging time they're in. They can fix what Sony's doing if they do anything wrong, and just improve upon what Sony and HTC Vive are doing, and make theirs amazing. But they're, I don't know, they have to come with a competitive price point, because now you can get $399. We'll talk about that in the Sony thing.
Yeah,
the price is
$399 was Sony's price point.
US for price point for Sony's VR. Now for Xbox, this new console was going to be at least that. Plus, you got to buy, unless it's bundled with a VR headset, you're going to have to spend another. So it's maybe $500-$700 to get that Xbox with a VR. And if you don't have that much money, you might just go with the PlayStation.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple. I mean, my obvious thing would be the bundle VR with your new system and say, listen, this is a VR ready system. Here is a 30, 50 release time, because we'll get to it when we get to Sony, but I think Sony said they're going to have 50 plus release VR compatible, which means a lot of old games just with VR things. But still, I would, if I were Microsoft, I'd want to come on strong with a large opening. I would have VR included, because here's the problem. Remember last year at E3, what did they show us? The HoloLens, that stupid thing that put Minecraft on the table, which looked super cool, except it's gimmicky as fuck and works for one great game and one game only. I'm sorry, there's not enough Minecraft players on Xbox who are willing to buy a virtual reality headset for only Minecraft.
And who wants AR?
Yeah. Nintendo did it with the 3DS. I still have the 3DS cards you can put down and fight a dragon that pops up out of the table and stuff. Okay, it's cool. And it was enjoyable for exactly the 30 seconds it took me to kill that dragon, and Nintendo hasn't done anything else. There's one game they do
Pokemon Go!
Pokemon
AR,
Go.
That's the coolest thing.
There you go.
I want it. But no, I don't want AR on Xbox. Give me VR. Yeah. I want VR. I don't want augmented, because how the heck do you play anything half decent in AR? Well, that's it.
There's one game I've played that's cool in AR. It's called Spirit Camera. My wife has it for the Nintendo 3DS, and it actually turns your house into a haunted house where you look through the 3DS to find ghosts.
Ooh, too spooky for me.
Right.
I'd burn my house down.
But it's gimmicky, and it's good for that one game, but it's not good as a whole. So no, we don't want AR, we want VR. Unfortunately, I think Microsoft picked the wrong pony and bet on it at this point. I think they've
been really good at that with Xbox, because they went with HD DVD.
Yes.
And it was external HD DVD, which probably saved them it being external, but I think they were first out to market with HD DVD. Yeah. But they're not picking the right winners in the format wars between Microsoft and Sony, because now they're on Blu-ray and they got to pay royalties to Sony for the Blu-ray, right?
Exactly. So,
but hopefully they get it together. Just completely drop AR and HoloPoint. Yeah. Pick up VR and just get the killer apps for VR. Yeah. You think the next Halo is going to be VR or something? What are they? I don't know what they're going to put on VR that will be the amazing VR experience.
Exactly. Though it sounded
like Fallout was going to be on it, though.
Yeah, no, they did say Fallout. Fallout has been announced for VR, so presumably they're going to push VR for every system it's on. They also did a great deal of talking in rather ridiculous terms, which you mentioned.
Teraflops.
Talk about the teraflops.
So many teraflops, boys.
For those who are not well versed in technical terms, teraflop is an output. It's basically computational capacity. How many flops, which is floating point calculations, something can do per second. Not getting into a technical lecture here because I'm not going to pretend to understand it that well, but it's an output. It doesn't measure how powerful the car is. So, for example, if you had a really tuned-up car, you might say, listen, my car's got 450 horsepower. This is the equivalent of saying, I've got a 120-mile-per-hour car. You're talking about the output, not the power. So, yeah, it can produce a lot of flops, which is great if you're going to run folding at home. For those of us who actually want to play games on it, that doesn't tell us anything particularly useful.
How many gigabytes is the graphics card?
Right. How many gigabytes of RAM does it have?
What type of memory is it using?
Right, exactly. What kind of processor do we have in it?
Processor?
The fact that they purposely obfuscated it with these terms makes me think that they don't want us to know what it actually is, and that's not a good thing, in my opinion.
Or they're still trying to figure their shit out, but they just need us. They're just telling us that it's coming out.
Yeah, we don't know.
Have these teraflops. It's going to be great.
We don't know how we're going to get this many teraflops, but we guarantee you these teraflops will be here.
We're going to stick four 1080s in it.
Exactly. Now, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'm fairly certain I run a GTX Titan in one of my computers, Titan X, I should say. I'm pretty sure it can produce more than that, and it's a 2-year-old graphic card now, I think. So that's not that impressive. That being said, I think it's
It sounds cool.
It sounds cool. This is like if you remember back the old Nintendo Sega console rolls, like we've got blast processing. We can have 16 different sounds playing at the same time. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. But Project Scorpio, I think it was a bad choice to launch it immediately following this new Xbox One S coming out. But I do appreciate that they're keeping up. And I'm sorry to tell you this, console peasants, I very much am, but you cannot have an up-to-date system that has a life cycle of 10 years. I'm sorry. Microsoft realized that before Sony. But the fact of the matter is, if you do not update every 5 years or so, you are not going to be able to stay competitive graphically. And at least Microsoft, if nothing else, had the brains to realize this.
Yeah, and you know what? It's good that they are going to bring it up to snuff with 4K and VR, because that should give them a little bit longer of a lifespan. And I know there was rumors of a PlayStation Neo and PlayStation upgrading, but that never came to be. So I guess Microsoft's on Xbox 1.5 now.
Yeah, there we go. Xbox. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe they'll just call it like the Xbox 8. We jumped from Windows 8 to 10, so maybe we'll jump up that way. I don't know. I can't say that.
But the good message that they said that no games are getting left behind. I really like that, because that was always the thing that sucked, was the next console comes out, you can't play your old games. So hopefully,
or in the new case, what was it? 3 years later, you get to download them digitally to play your old games.
So it's like I got a big Tupperware bin of games that I can't play.
Exactly.
But if I bought them digitally at that time, which I didn't because I didn't have the internet infrastructure then, or there were so many restrictions, I didn't have internet able to download them. So I got this box of games that I can put in and kind of play. But my favorite thing about my Xbox One is my whole library is digital on that. I don't think I have really any games that are disc anymore, because there's no EB games that are close enough to make me want to go to a store and buy one and then go trade it in.
For those of us who don't know what that is, who are American, it's owned by the same company as GameStop, and it's really the only video game shop in Canada other than independent dealers. Games. Exactly.
So no, I like digital, and I don't get trade back money for my games, but you know what? Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, but overall, I am looking forward to it again. Not looking forward to dumping new money on a new console. That being said,
I just built a new computer.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to buy a new Xbox.
Well, just go with the Windows 10 version.
Yeah.
But all that being said, it does look very promising for Microsoft, as we'll no doubt gush on Sony when we get to their presentation, because we both agree that it was the tip top.
So good.
But Microsoft does look like they're remaining competitive, unlike a couple of years ago when it looked like they were shooting themselves in the foot. It looks like they're doing a lot to keep themselves up to date now.
It is it's hard. Yeah, when we're doing this now, we haven't covered Sony. There's no game that I really saw at Microsoft's conference where I'm like, holy crap, I want to play that right now.
I would say Scalebound did that for me, but that being said,
it didn't do it. It didn't do it for me as some of the other games that I saw. In other conferences.
When we get to the Sony, we'll get to that. But that being said, because of their big push for Windows 10, they really have, as a result, and this is a side effect, have lost very likely any chance of me purchasing this or even the next generation, because everything's going to be on Windows 10. I don't care how nice you make Project Scorpio, it's still going to look better on my PC.
Yeah. No, and the thing too is, Project Scorpio is coming out. It's going to be on PC, and everything's going to be backwards compatible. I just hope that they don't limit their development cycles for them, and I just hope that they can just get some big name games coming out, because other than, I don't know, I'm not as excited as you are for Scalebound, but there was just nothing in their lineup that made me just absolutely want to play it right now.
Well, it's still not a killer app. If it wasn't coming out on Windows 10, odds are I wouldn't be playing it. At least not until I see how this whole Scorpio thing goes. So it does look fantastic, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, again, Windows 10, it's great that it's on it, but it's also cost them a system sale. That being said, I bought Windows. So what do they make more money off? I don't know. Are they making more money off of each sale of Windows? Are they making more money off of each console sold? I know the original Xbox, they actually sold at a loss, right? Mm-hmm. To sell more, and then they made the money back from games. So maybe that's their strategy this time. Maybe they're making only $20 per unit sold on the Xbox.
Well, I know I don't know if it was the Game Developer Conference or CES, Phil was talking about the future of Xbox. They want to make it more modular and be almost like PC. But it's like, well, why don't you just make the games for PC? And that seems like that's what they're going for. They're going to put the games on PC, and I think they want to be more in line with PC. But
and then the Xbox will be like the budget version, and the PC will be...
It's your budget kind of console / PC, but then the problem is, because the thing with console that has always been good is you buy a game, you know it's going to run on it, it's going to look the same as everyone else's console. If you start getting modular and you're getting upgraded graphics card and upgraded this on the console, then it's just going to be... I just feel like that's not what console is supposed to be. That's PC.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know if you remember the old N64 had that memory expansion module you popped in the front.
You had to get that to be able to play
Perfect Dark
and Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah. So I hope it doesn't go that way, because again, that is the great thing about consoles. You put down your $600, $500 or the $300 for this new Xbox coming out, and now you can play all the games at the same level that everyone else is playing them at. You don't have to worry about upgrades. And yes, that is the downside of being on the PC side of things.
It's, can I run that? You gotta, like, this, oh man, that game looks so cool. Can I run it is the big question.
Right. And not only can I run it, but maybe it runs great on everything that's exactly the same, but I went AMD instead of Intel. Or, I went for a Radeon instead of a GeForce. And so maybe it runs great on the equivalent GeForce card, but you got to spend a half an hour tweaking with your settings to make it run.
Yeah.
So that is the downside. So I don't want to see that come to consoles, because again, I couldn't afford top-end gaming PCs growing up. And to be realistic, most people can't afford top-end gaming PCs now. The vast majority of gamers
barely had a computer until I was like an adult.
Exactly. So
I always had the worst version of Windows.
Exactly. So that really is important to me, that we keep that barrier to entry for consoles low, so that people who do not have large budgets, whether it's because they have families, they just don't work a job that pays enough, they're in a situation where maybe they're living on limited income, they're retired on disability or whatever, can still afford to play. Because, as everyone will attest to, it's not like games, some people gotta say, oh yeah, if it's not 60 FPS and at 1080p or 4K, it's terrible. No, the game's still fun. So everyone who can should be able to play. And I really hope that we don't lose that with you have to now buy an expansion, or you can't download the games. I don't know if you're aware, there was a big game, what is it called? Fatal Frame for the Wii. And it was a big deal because it was digital only in North America. And most Wiis that weren't the newest one, it wouldn't fit on their hard drive. Yeah. Even if it was blank.
So they have very small hard drives.
Yes. So if you hadn't bought the current Wii, which had the double-sized hard drive, even then it still filled more than half your hard drive. You could not play this game because it was digital download only. And that's nonsense. I shouldn't have to upgrade my console to play a console game.
Yeah.
If you say, listen, you have to delete the other games you have saved because it's a big game, it fills your hard drive, fine. But why on earth are you digitally releasing a game that most gamers can't even play? Like, that to me makes no sense.
Just getting back with Project Scorpio, the way... Okay, so when they announced Xbox One, they're like, oh, it's gonna be big digital generation.
Yeah.
It was a 500 gig console.
Yeah.
Halo Master Chief Collection is like 60, 70 gigs.
Yeah.
Some of the games are like, at least most of them are at least 10, 13 gigs. Some of them in the 20s, 30s. And there's Halo up in 70s. I burned through that hard drive so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they put a decent sized base hard drive in there, because I ended up adding a 2 terabyte external hard drive that I'm at, it's 85% full now.
Right. So here's the thing, just to throw a little math at you. A Western Digital Black, which is your gaming and hard drive. A 1 terabyte costs about $60 if I buy it on the market. That's retail, not buying in bulk. Microsoft can probably get them for $20 on the unit, if not less. Mm-hmm. So why aren't we seeing 1 terabyte drives? They take up the exact same amount of space.
They do have them now. Like, they do have it in the newer regular Xboxes. They got a 1 terabyte solid state drive, I believe, on the newer ones.
I doubt it's 1 terabyte solid.
I think it was.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure.
I have to double check.
Okay.
And then I think on the S, it's going to be similar. Yeah. Hopefully they put just a nice, big, beefy hard drive.
I'd like to see 1 terabyte solid states become the standard because they're quick, but at the same time, 1 terabyte is enough for 20 large games. That's reasonably, I'd say your average.
I got a lot of games though.
Yeah, well, we're talking your average gamer though. You know, most people.
I don't want to have to uninstall and reinstall games when I feel like playing them. Yeah. I'd rather just have everything on it. So hopefully they give us like a nice big solid state drive, and then. Perfect. Don't have to worry about that.
But anyway, we got off on a bit of a tangent. What we're trying to say is keep consoles as consoles. Don't make us upgrade them. Leave that to the realm of the PC. Keep consoles nice, simple, and accessible, I think is what we're trying to say out of that. So I think we've rambled on long enough. We've just passed the hour and a half mark, and I think that's about all the attention that Microsoft deserves, or as they called it, the Xbox conference, even though it was as much Windows 10 as it was Xbox. So that being said, thank you very much for listening, everyone. I have your co-host, Victor von Fragenstein.
And I'm Gapper.
And we will see you on the flip side. Don't be afraid to slap that like or subscribe button. And for those interested, our next up is going to be the Sony PlayStation.
Yeah.